I think a small-time media institution will distribute our project because the gross that we make from distributing our product would be low because we had a low budget, so and we'd be working from a school, so we had low budget or were limited to using props that were given to us by the school at hand. Also, the costing was only people that we knew in the school. We couldn't really cast people from outside because it took time and people weren't always available at the same time, so we had to use people that were available. We had to use locations. We tried to use locations that people could recognize easily, but most of the locations you needed permission to. We had problems with the first draft. We filmed certain parts inside Canary Wharf, but we weren't allowed to film everywhere because we need permission. People can relate to where we've set our scene. If we had the big budget, I think we'd use we'd better locations, as people would be able to recognise them and relate to them more. If we had better locations, bigger companies might be interested as they can. People will want to go see the movie because they can relate to the locations that we were using. The cost would be better, be able to pick a better cost, and they'd be available when we need them because we had the budget. Plots would be better, and that would make the quality of the what we've made better. The audience of our media products will be people from the ages of 16 to about 34. This is because at this age they're generally interested in mystery, which is our genre. From our genre of crime, we researched into it and we found that people of those ages enjoyed watching crime and mystery, and also action movies attract mostly the male audience because they like to watch action. But by making our main character female, we've also given access for female people to watch the movie as well, so they can relate to certain aspects of the character's life. From our research into the audience, we found that mainly people of in their 30s enjoyed watching movies where they didn't know the entire plot. They liked to work it out, and as if we made the whole film, we'd be able to slowly give them clues and keep them enticed. Our audience may be mostly people that live in London, as we've located. One of our locations is Canary Wharf, which is a location in London that almost everybody knows. They can relate to it, and as they may have been there before, this will make them be able to feel like they're part of the movie as well as watching it as well. If we had the budget, I think we'd attract our audience by putting a trailer on sites such as YouTube. If we had the budget, we could pay for advertisements on TV, and people will be able to see it, and then it will make them want to watch it or know more about the movie. We could post portfolios of the cast onto the websites and have their opinion of what they've played in the movie. Also, we could use, because we have low budget, YouTube is still available for us to post our film opening on YouTube, and then people will be able to see it, and then they may want to see more of the movie, as we haven't made the whole movie, and that might give us the budget to make more posters, stuff like that. Our mise-en-scene is, for costume is mostly suits in the beginning, apart from our protagonists, which they are still wearing smart attire, but you can see certain aspects of them. They're not completely smart because you can see that they're wearing Nike trainers, which you don't associate with suits. So you can see that they're not part of the middle class is what we're trying to represent for the other two characters. Um, um, Also, we have chose. Um, I think the two characters in suits, in full suits, um, will relate to our audience that are older and have middle class and or just working class, but they have jobs. They can relate to it as they may have to wear the same attire to go to work. The antagonist, who is wearing night trainers and is also wearing a hoodie, you can relate to the younger audience from around 17 to 23, 22. This will be able to relate to them because they may wear the same attire, so they can relate to it. Also, they may have, in the news, people are associated with doing negative things while wearing the same attire. It attracts the audience because it's like we're recreating a real event that's happened, so we're interested in seeing how it resolves. Because with the news, you only hear what happened, you don't hear the full story. So by making the film on it, we have allowed access into what might happen after. So? For sound to do with our audience, I've created a track that is urban but also sophisticated because I've used the instrument violin, which is associated with classical music, but I've also added drum kits into it, which you don't associate going together with a violin. This shows the mix between middle class and teen culture, and it creates a sense of tension to grab the audience, as from the music you can tell when something's going to happen or when something's building up to something. Also, we have melodies for the different characters, so when one of the characters is on screen, say the female character is on screen, we have a soft melody which plays over the track, so you know that she's on screen and that you associate that melody with her when she's on screen. So later on in the movie, if you play that melody, you know that she's going to be on screen soon. Likewise with the antagonist, when they're on screen, they have their own melody. So when you play the melody, you know that the antagonist is going to be on screen soon, which creates more tension because you're anticipating them to come on screen. The reason we have different melodies for different characters is to give a hint to the audience. From our research, we found that the audience like to know what's going to happen. By using the melodies, we found that we could give a hint to the audience without the audience being aware of the hint being given to them. So if we have the female character coming on screen and it plays the melody, they know that she's coming on screen, but it's still a surprise when she comes on screen because it's to do with their concentration. We found that when watching movies, people's concentration, they concentrate on certain aspects because there's so many aspects to concentrate on. They don't know which ones to concentrate on at certain times. But by using the music, we give them the clue. The antagonist, it's useful for the antagonist because they're viewed negatively, and we can build tension by using the melody before they come on screen. It can be playing through without them on screen, but we also know that they're going to be on screen soon because the music for them is playing. To add to the effect of our sound, we also have simultaneous editing, where we have two stories playing at the same time. The story of the protagonist, which is the male who's been kidnapped, and the hero, or savior, which is the female character. But they play both stories at the same time, so we don't give away that she's the savior of the male character until until the end, when we find out her name and the title is given and it's got her name, so we know the movie is about her. So it's gonna involve her. By playing the stories, scenes simultaneously, we desensitize the fact that the male character has been kidnapped by breaking the action up in between with the day-to-day work life of the female character. It it is only through the constant voicemails that we used that we let the audience know that the male character and the female character are linked in some way, as the voicemail is for the male character who's been kidnapped throughout the movie, but she's still going throughout her day-to-day life, which shows you that she isn't generally aware of what's happened to him. She's just worrying, which conforms to the generic stereotypes of women being dependent on the male character, even though he's been kidnapped. So he's not in a positive situation himself at the moment. By playing the scene simultaneously, we allow us to use more of the settings that we have for people that are not so much interested in action. We have the setting of Canary Wharf, which is known globally and will attract a wide range of audience, possibly outside of our target audience range. And for people who like action, we have the Boiler Room, which is a room that's not often. It's often used in action movies, not often used in other movies such as romance. So we allow them to know that we give hints again, which shows us that something negative is going to happen because we're using the Boiler Room. Also, we do a pan of the Boiler Room, which shows us that it shows us the setting of the male character who's been kidnapped, which puts the audience in his shoes because they can see more of the setting, so they can put themselves in the same situation. And then we pan down to the male character who's tied to the pipe, and then now we know why he's in the Boiler Room, because he's been kidnapped. And then we get the phone call we go back to the female character who is now standing in front of Canary Wharf on a phone, and I don't know anymore.
That was really good. That was really good.
I think I'm going to have to do a lot of editing.
Yeah, obviously, but mainly cutting out my voice. Point of view shot. We have a point of view shot of the male character, so you see it from his perspective.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We use a point of view shot of the male character Amir to show that he hasn't only just been kidnapped. He's also been roughed up a bit, because when we see his point of view shot, it's shaky and it's blurry and the light's distorted. It's showing that he's been through a rough time, and then we show a close up of Amir, and he's got a bruise on his left eye, which is the reason why he's dizzy, and the shot is distorted. The target audience is an audience that mainly likes action, which shows you some action has occurred off screen, and that it's a teaser for more action later on in the movie.